On a bright, crisp morning, Emily, a 32-year-old woman, pregnant with her first child, walked slowly down the street. Suddenly, a loud car horn broke the tranquility. She froze in horror as she turned, seeing a truck speeding toward her. In a split second, Marcus, a 13-year-old boy with a slender build, dashed out from nowhere and tackled Emily, pushing her out of the truck's path. The truck skidded, tires screeching as the driver swerved sharply and crashed into the curb. Emily gasped for breath, clutching her belly. She was shaken, but overwhelmed with gratitude for the boy's heroic act. She felt protected, as though fate had intervened. However, the noise of the crowd around her quickly brought her back to reality. She noticed a group of onlookers, mostly strangers, some of whom began to speak cruelly. Typical black kid trying to play the hero for attention. Disgusting, one of them muttered. Emily stood in stunned silence, unable to comprehend their cruelty. She watched Marcus limping, his legs scraped from the rescue, as he quietly tried to slip away unnoticed. Emily couldn't let him leave without saying something. Without thinking, she reached out and took his hand. "Thank you," she said earnestly. "If it weren't for you, my baby and I might not be alive right now." Marcus looked at her in surprise. He had never expected such gratitude from a woman like her, and his heart warmed with a glimmer of hope. Emily invited Marcus to join her for a warm meal as a token of gratitude. Marcus hesitated for a moment, unsure of what to expect, but eventually agreed. They sat down at the dining table, and Emily gently inquired about his life. "My family's very poor," Marcus began, his voice steady but tinged with sadness. "My parents do all kinds of odd jobs to survive, but people judge us because of our skin color. It's hard for them to find work." He continued, "Now our neighborhood is being torn down, and the compensation isn't enough for a new place to live. It's only the black communities that are being forced out." Emily was taken aback by this, and, after a brief pause, she interrupted him. "The billionaire behind that project? That's my husband." Marcus looked at her, unsure whether he should believe her. Emily noticed his doubt and smiled reassuringly. "Don't worry, I'll talk to him. We can fix this." Marcus nodded, though he was reluctant to get his hopes up. He didn't want to expect too much, but the possibility of a better life felt almost unreal. The evening ended, and before they parted, Emily asked for Marcus's home address. That night, she spoke to her husband Alex, a 35-year-old billionaire, about what had happened. After a long conversation, Alex reluctantly agreed to cancel the demolition project and spare Marcus's neighborhood. But Emily didn't stop there. She invited Marcus's family to live in their mansion. Marcus's mother started working as the household chef, and his father became Alex's personal driver. Marcus was able to continue his schooling, and for a while it felt like a dream. Despite the kindness they received, there were whispers and cruel remarks from others. Why would a billionaire help those filthy black people? They're just taking advantage. But Marcus ignored the cruel words, holding on to the hope that this happiness would last forever. One fateful day, everything changed. While driving Alex on a business trip, Marcus's father caused a serious car accident, leaving Alex severely injured and unconscious. The next day, a meal prepared by Marcus's mother was contaminated, causing Emily to lose her unborn child. Chaos erupted in the household as Alex's injuries and the tragic loss combined to create a storm of anger. When Emily recovered, she stormed into Marcus's family's quarters, her voice trembling with rage. "I gave you everything. How could you betray us like this?" Alex, now confined to a wheelchair, was wheeled into the room. His voice roared with fury. "You filthy, ungrateful black people. You're jealous of what we have, so you tried to destroy us." The police arrived swiftly, and Marcus's parents were arrested, his father for negligence, and his mother for the intentional harm caused to Emily. Marcus, now alone, was thrown out of the mansion and left out in the cold rain, with nowhere to go. His world shattered as he found himself homeless, the cruel words of others ringing in his ears. He roamed the streets, surviving by scavenging through trash and scraps, enduring endless insults and scornful stares. "Look at that black stray dog," some would mock. Marcus couldn't fight back, so he endured in silence, hiding his pain behind a stoic expression. But he never lost his determination to survive. One day, while rummaging through a dumpster near a luxury apartment complex, Marcus saw Alex walking out with a young, unfamiliar woman. They were far more affectionate than Alex had ever been with Emily. Curiosity burned inside Marcus, and he decided to follow them. Through a slightly open window, he overheard their conversation. "She just won't die," Alex grumbled. "I slipped poison into the food that black woman cooked, but only the baby died. What a waste of effort." The woman purred, "Don't worry, your wife still doesn't suspect a thing. We'll get another chance to get rid of her." Alex smirked. "Tonight's dinner will be her last. I'll lace it with enough poison to make sure she's gone for good. Then everything, her fortune, her house, will belong to us." Marcus froze in shock. It all became clear to him now. Alex had been scheming all along. His grip tightened, and he knew he had to stop him before it was too late. That evening, Emily and Alex sat down for a quiet dinner. The atmosphere was thick with tension as they both tried to move past the recent tragedies. Alex, though still angry and bitter, raised a glass in a silent toast. "To surviving," he said coldly, his eyes betraying a hint of malice. Emily, still grieving the loss of their child, whispered, "I should have listened to you from the start. I never should have brought those people into our home." Alex didn't respond, offering only a sly smile as he poured more wine into their glasses. Emily hesitated but took the drink, her eyes filled with sadness. Before they could drink, the door slammed open. Marcus rushed into the room looking frantic. "Don't drink it," he shouted, running toward them. Emily stared at him, confused. "What are you talking about?" she asked, her voice trembling. Marcus turned to Alex, his voice shaking with urgency. "You have to believe me. I saw him with another woman. They're planning to poison you, just like they did with the baby." Emily gasped, her eyes widening in horror. "What are you saying? How could you accuse us of such a thing?" she whispered, struggling to understand. Alex sneered. "Don't listen to him. He's just trying to save his parents from jail." Marcus wasn't deterred. He raised the wine glass, his eyes locked on Alex. "If there's no poison, then drink it yourself," he challenged. Alex hesitated, his arrogance faltering for the first time. He scoffed. "Why should I listen to some black kid like you?" The tension in the room grew thicker, and Emily was torn, unsure who to believe. But Marcus didn't flinch. He stood firm, holding the glass. In a sudden move, Alex lunged towards Marcus, but the boy was faster. He poured the wine into the expensive fish tank in one swift motion. The expensive fish floated lifelessly to the surface, their bodies drifting in the water. Emily screamed in shock. She turned to Alex, her voice trembling with disbelief. "Why would you do this to me?" she asked, her heart breaking. Alex's mask of charm crumbled, and his face twisted in fury. "Because I'm tired of being the man who married rich. I planned to destroy that black neighborhood to prove my power, but you ruined it." Emily's tears streamed down her face as she sobbed. "You killed our son, all for money." Alex sneered. "He wasn't my son. He was just your family's heir. With him around, I'd never see a penny of your fortune." Emily, overwhelmed by grief and betrayal, could no longer respond. She simply sat there, her heart breaking into pieces. Realizing that he could no longer stay, Alex attempted to flee, but Marcus had already called the police. That night, Alex was arrested and sentenced to spend the rest of his life behind bars for his crimes. After Alex was arrested, the atmosphere in the mansion was eerily quiet. Marcus's family was finally free from the torment that had haunted them for so long. Marcus's parents were released from jail, their innocence proven. They reunited with their son, their tears of joy washing away the pain of the past. As for Marcus, despite everything he had been through, he didn't harbor hatred. He still believed in justice, and with his family reunited, they could finally start over. Emily, on the other hand, was a broken woman. The betrayal she had endured had shattered her faith in love and trust. In the months that followed, she withdrew from the public eye, dedicating her time to charity work. It was the only way she could find some solace after everything. She used her resources to help those who were marginalized, those who had been treated unjustly, people like Marcus and his family. Emily found some peace in helping others, but the pain of losing her child and the betrayal of her husband would never fully fade. As for Marcus and his family, they returned to a humble life, far away from the opulent world they had briefly lived in. They found strength in each other. Marcus continued his studies and worked hard to create a better future. Despite all the hardships, he held on to his compassion and his belief that things could get better. The bond between Marcus and his family grew stronger every day. They had endured so much, but their love and unity were unbreakable. Over time, Marcus's reputation as a young man who stood up for justice and fought for the rights of the marginalized began to spread. He became a symbol of hope for those who felt unseen and forgotten, showing that no matter where you come from, you could always make a difference. In the end, Marcus's story wasn't just one of survival, but of redemption, justice, and the unbreakable power of family. His journey, though filled with unimaginable pain, led him to a life where he could make a real impact and help others in ways he had never imagined. In the end, Marcus realized that no matter how dark life seemed, there was always a chance for a new beginning, a chance to create a better world for all.